Welcome to Power On Weekly, hosted by your boy, Irving Legend, and your girl,
ALL Mayhem.
Allie Mayhem. Brought the mayhem back.
Bringing the mayhem.
Dang, bringing the mayhem. Welcome back, everybody, to Power On Weekly for the week of September 21st through the 27th, episode 14. Think I got that right? Yeah,
Sure.
I haven't been saying the episodes again. But yeah, we're back. We had a busy news week this week, Allie. Xbox making big purchases,
Making moves.
Sneaky
moves.
Yeah, and Amazon also throwing their
Also making moves.
making moves, and well, it's an interesting
Trying to cause waves, but they're only in like a little tiny kiddie pool, so it's not doing too much.
kind of splashes here and there. So let's jump right into the weekly news. Monday started off the news week really with a bang. Xbox buys ZeniMax, the parent company of Bethesda, for $7.5 million. Yeah, it was
Million.
$1 million. Yeah.
Million.
So obviously Bethesda is known for their world-renowned games of like
Fallout,
Elder Scrolls, Starfield upcoming. They also have Arcane Studios that does Dishonored, Prey, Deathloop, which we'll talk about in a bit. id Software that does Doom, Quake, Rage. Tango Gameworks, the minds behind The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo as well. We'll talk about that game as well in a bit. ZeniMax Online, they do ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, and they also did Fallout 76. Machine Games, Wolfenstein, all the Wolfenstein games. Alpha Dogs and Roundhouse Studios are new studios that they did, that they've made. So all of these are now under the Xbox family. And I'm gonna say it straight up. This is probably the biggest gaming move
acquisition
in history, right? Like that's huge. That's massive. There's a lot of things to kind of unravel with this. A lot of questions I immediately had. I woke up in the morning and Justin was the first person to message me and say this happened, and I was like, wait, hold on, what? I haven't even had my coffee. Let me figure out what the heck is this all means. I had so many questions from the beginning. Something I will say real quick though before we move on is $7.5 million. That's more money than what's it called? Disney bought Lucasfilm for. Yeah, that's the fact that they spent so much money on that. It's actually crazy. They only spent $4.5 billion on Lucas, and this is more obviously than that. I mean, we've talked about it before. Microsoft is a $1 trillion company, 1-point-something trillion dollar company. This isn't really it's shocking for sure, but I mean, they have the money to do it. Do you think Sony would have been able to do the same move?
No.
No. Yeah, the reason being is because Sony, like we've talked about before, they're not as big as Microsoft is what I'm saying. Yeah. What was your opinion? I know when you woke up, I told you, and you were just like you didn't really like it, and it didn't hit you as hard as it did for me. But after explaining everything, what were your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, it's big acquisition. I don't think much is going to change though. I'm being completely honest.
What do you mean by that?
Microsoft's been really open on their stance about exclusives, and that's kind of where everyone immediately went, was to, oh, well, now they're just going to hog everything. And it's like, they don't even have to hog everything. Because even if that game sells on a Sony console, the money is going into Microsoft's pockets. Yes, they could pull moves to try to make everything exclusive, but there's no reason to. If that's their stance, where they're trying to kind of end this exclusive war, they benefit no matter what happens and no matter where you buy these games.
Yeah. So what you're saying is they probably won't do all their games exclusively to Xbox because they can get the publisher cut from selling these games on third-party systems. Now, I completely agree with you on that. I've seen half and half of that opinion, yes and no. Some people are really adamant, why would you pay $7.5 billion to just put your games on the other systems as well?
Because those people don't understand how business works.
Some of these, I don't know, like there's like some people that are in the business as well have also said that too, and I can't understand why they would say that. Like somebody that comes to mind is like Paris. He keeps being adamant about like they have to be exclusive and stuff. I think we have we kind of settled somewhere in the middle where we will see exclusives from them, but not to the point where every single game, all existing franchises too, are going to be now exclusive to Xbox.
I think if you have the attitude of it has to be exclusives, then you've not been paying attention for the past year. Then you're still that person who's so stuck in console wars that like these people can't grasp how things are changing and how things are evolving and how Microsoft's attitude towards their game console has changed. Like the fact that you think it has to be an exclusive. Like, you know what? Yeah, Sony or Microsoft could 100% take this, make them exclusives, and probably make more money. But I don't think that, again, we know that they're not really about trying to sell this system at this point. They're about getting you on Game Pass, and this is going to get so many people on Game Pass. If you have both consoles, it makes no sense not to, and you love these franchises, it makes no sense not to go and favor Microsoft. But it's also just the fact that like people can't seem to comprehend that yes, they might make a little more money, but the fact that I think I said this with like the whole Fortnite thing when they took it off iOS. It's like at the end of the or no. We were talking about putting Game Pass on iOS where it's just like it just doesn't make sense to have everything. I lost what I was trying to say here.
It's okay.
Basically, though, you're almost better to have I know what I'm trying to get at is you're better having your eggs in multiple baskets than one. Like they could make more money by making exclusives, but they're probably going to make a ton more money by having these franchises everywhere still, and people still expect these franchises to be everywhere. And again, even beyond the money aspect of this, Microsoft again has been very adamant that they don't care about the exclusives anymore. They don't want that to be the draw.
Yeah, Phil Spencer went on record before saying that like exclusives they're not good for the industry is basically what he's saying. And it's not really like a vision that Microsoft likes to have is for exclusivities. They obviously do have exclusives like Halo and Gears and Forza and stuff like that, but those are already well-established franchises.
And those are mainstays that I think will stay. I think you're going to have mainstay games. You're going to have that one or two, maybe three franchises. And I think they may add a franchise or two, but it wouldn't be.
Yeah. So our opinions, our ideas is that they'll probably make every existing, I'd say every existing, but every current existing franchise. You got your Elder Scrolls, you got your Fallout, you've got your Doom, you've got your Quake, you've got your, Dishonored, that are already on multi-platforms. They'll probably stay on multi-platform. So the next Elder Scrolls 6 that everyone's like dying, like clamoring to get any information on, they'll most likely have that still be multi-platform. But new IPs like Starfield, which is a highly anticipated game from Bethesda, they'll probably, dangle the carrot on the stick over the fans that are like, you want Starfield? Well, you'll have to come over on Xbox. And using those new IPs are probably the ones that are going to be exclusive. It would make the most sense, right? It's the most fair if you think about it. And yeah, like you said, like there's no reason why these games wouldn't continue being multi-platform because they can get a publisher cut from it and they play nice with everybody else, and they almost kind of like almost strong arm really like PlayStation to kind of start playing nice as well.
Here's the other thing too, right? So if we are going to go and continue this exclusives route and Microsoft does want to take advantage of this, I think the fair compromise that I could see them doing too is maybe a timed exclusive, kind of like what happened with the whole Tomb Raider franchise. Yeah. That, I mean, as someone who was on Sony, that probably sucked having to wait for that, but you knew at some point it was coming and you would be able to play it. And like, but see, I also don't know that these are the kinds of things that are going to get people to switch consoles. So I don't know that a timed exclusive is still really like the best. But I could see Microsoft maybe taking something along that route if they do want to fully take advantage of it without completely cutting out an entire fan base. I could see kind of moving in maybe that direction, like exclusive on Xbox, and on Game Pass for the first 3 to 6 months, and then it's going to release everywhere else.
I could see that too. But I also think that, like, I think that whole time exclusive kind of a thing is just kind of like, it's not gross, but it's just kind of like, like, what's the point then? At that point, like, yeah, you might get people to be like, I'm gonna switch over, but a year, 6 months, like, people will wait for that.
No, and that's what I'm saying too. I don't know that it would work, but I could see that being if they're going to go exclusives at all.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that they'll have to push is, and the reason why this is such a even bigger deal than just like, oh, they just bought a studio and now they might be first party and stuff like that. The biggest thing that draws to me is, and we keep saying this so many times, but it's Game Pass, right? All these games are now going to be available at launch on Game Pass. So even if the next Fallout, the next Elder Scrolls, the next Dishonored are multi-platform, if you can pay $15 a month, why or buy these games outright at $60 or $70 on
70,
Sony?
yeah.
Like, depending if that's still going to continue with them on Sony, it's almost like a no-brainer to just like play these games on Game Pass, and it gives you more incentives for players to like have that second console. Yeah, you have your PlayStation 5 for your exclusives, but that's the reason why the Xbox Series S is so smart, right? It's a digital console, $300. If you do the all access as well, that's $25 a month. It comes with Game Pass Ultimate. You're able to play these games for technically a lot cheaper than you would if you would have paid for even 3 of these games on PlayStation 5 if they do come out there. So like that's huge. And in the long run, and we keep talking about this, like, they're thinking ahead. That makes the most sense to me as what their business plan would be, because once you present that to people, they're kind of like, okay, yeah, like, Game Pass is kind of the shit. Like there's no argument that, like, we've always said, like, Game Pass is really good, but with this acquisition, there can't be an argument as to, like, Game Pass isn't worth it. Like, this is becoming the Netflix of games.
It just gets better every week too, it feels like. And again, like, we didn't jump on these Xbox pre-orders because it doesn't feel necessary right now, but at the same time, like, I'm super excited for Game Pass. Like, it gets better and better, and it's uh, beating a dead horse, but like, Microsoft doesn't care about if you buy their console. They know at some point you're going to need to upgrade. We're going to need to upgrade. Our consoles are old. Like, they know that in some period of time you're gonna buy a new console, because now you're already invested in the system. You have your games, or you have Game Pass. Like, it's just the sales, they're just on 2 different ideas right now. Microsoft doesn't care about their console sales. Sony does. Sony still does. Sony's still playing their game really well. I think their exclusives are great, but I do think every time Microsoft opens their mouth and is like, we acquired this is going to be on Game Pass, like, if anyone still for any reason had any freaking doubt that they care more about Game Pass than the actual system,
yeah, this is,
they just spent $7.5 million to, acquire this. Like, I don't know. It's like, I'm surprised, but
it is billion. I'm sorry, I've been saying million this entire time.
I thought it was billion.
Yeah,
okay,
billion.
Billion with a B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and like I said, I mean, I think, yeah, you were like, you woke up, you told me, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I know that that's a big number. I know it's a huge acquisition, but I wasn't surprised. Like, I don't know. You were just like, yeah, and like, you were explaining how big it is. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Like, but like, I'm just not surprised by any moves that Microsoft is making anymore, just because I see the vision. I understand what they're doing. It's just like, oh, it was kind of more, I think I just had more that sounds about right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So they did say that and to clarify some stuff that Phil said, Papa Phil said in an interview with Bloomberg that new games will come to Xbox, Game Pass, PC, and other consoles on a case-by-case basis. So they're obviously still open to having this cross-generate or cross-platform of their games. And he also stated that kind of Bethesda is just going to be kind of doing their own thing. It's like
good.
It's like
That's the
Yeah,
best thing they could do.
yeah, they're like they acquired them and they're part of the family now, but they're saying that it's like we're not pushing, sorry, we're
Our
not
agenda on
our
you.
agenda on them. We're embracing theirs, like their culture, their what's it called into ours.
Well, and they've done that with all the other studios they've acquired. It seems like just because they've and I think that's why I'm not upset about this acquisition either. Is I haven't seen Microsoft go in and like last episode where we talked about EA and Maxis,
Yeah.
we haven't seen them push their own agenda onto it. They're basically just becoming their like cash cow to be like, do what you want, make something great, just make something that's gonna sell, without the whole like Activision and EA are notorious for butting into productions now that they own something because it needs to make more money.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing about Microsoft is yes, of course, every company wants to make money. But again, it's just like you guys have a track record, you have a history, do your thing. I like that they don't really butt in and try and take over and ruin what makes these companies so good, which is kind of what we discussed last week.
No, for sure. And I think this is actually a benefit for both companies. Each of them, it's a win-win for each of them, right? Up until like 2 years ago, Bethesda was world renowned for their games and stuff like that, and like their storytelling, especially when it comes to all their Western RPGs, which now Western RPGs are literally just all owned by Microsoft at this point. But they had a good reputation up until Fallout 76 and
Oof.
all the charms of these games that they have like bugs here and there, and it's a part of the it wouldn't be a Bethesda game without a bug, it's I think it finally started to catch up to them where it's just like, okay, you guys need to like
get your shit together,
step it up or something. And the biggest thing that Microsoft has gotten flack for was the lack of exclusives. So this is a win-win for both of them. Now they they have the resources to be able to work on, who knows, like the Halo Slipstream engine, or the Forza engine, or whatever it may be. Use these resources from Microsoft in order to kind of like help them regain their reputation as like one of the best publishers, developers that in gaming history, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So I just see this as a huge win-win, and it makes perfect sense once you kind of like break all that down and realize that. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do and how they help each other grow. Now something we have to kind of talk about is Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are both games that are exclusive to PC or PlayStation 5 specifically, and they're also coming to PC as well. Deathloop by LxMDuo. Again, people who did Dishonored and Prey. Those will remain on there. And we've known that they were going to be time exclusives, but now it's more obvious that they're going to obviously come to consoles or to Xbox consoles as well. But I think it's also really cool that they just they're like, you know what? It's fine. Like let it, whatever. They're not going to break contract for that or for that acquisition or something. But
yeah, it's not worth it. They're in contract. Like, let it be.
Yeah. To try to buy that out of the contract would probably require more billions of dollars, and it's just not worth it. Yeah, so it makes sense that those games are gonna stay on PlayStation 5 and PC for now. They'll come eventually to Game Pass, but yeah, because that was a huge question on everyone's mind as to how that was gonna work. So
again, you're in a contract. Like, I don't know why people are like, oh, are they gonna switch? No, this agreement's already been made. Like, to breach that contract is gonna cost so much money. And again, like, I think Microsoft is just like, moving forward, we make the decisions, like things that have already happened and decisions that have already been made. Again, leave them as they are. Like, I don't know.
This news also, this whole entire news also broke the day before pre-sales went up.
Great timing.
Yeah, great timing for sure. We know now in hindsight that it was record-breaking sales, and literally everything sold out. You really couldn't find anything. We weren't like clamoring to get a pre-sale or a pre-order at all. But no. I was up at that time because I had to go to work. I had a house to shoot.
Watching what happened.
And I was like reading. I was reading Twitter and getting messages from Jordan and Josie talking about it. And Jordan was like, I called X store. They said they were all sold out like in person. Is like, Best Buy was, down. Target, if you click on the link, it doesn't even take you there. Like, it was kind of a mess. And within like 30 minutes, or to an hour to 2 hours or whatever, they were pretty much all sold out once those sites did get their
started working.
Yeah, working. But it was a mess. We talked about last week where PlayStation's pre-order was a mess as well, or a couple weeks ago. But this was almost as bad because bots ended up buying most of them because they told them exactly what time they were going to be up.
There's no win when it comes to this because of technology.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think just to like talk about last week too as well. What we didn't realize when we were talking about this is that Walmart literally like put out a thing and was like, we're releasing it now, whether we're told to or not. And like that detail like kind of changes everything. And it just is kind of like these retailers are not doing good things. Like that's so messed up to be like with the little eyeballs and like, you can get it now. And it's like, no, like your thing said this, and that just like started such a domino effect. And then like this week, like website's not working. And like, I get you can only prepare so much for like the influx of like traffic and stuff. But it's just like, how did you guys, and it's not, this isn't even, you can't even really be mad at the companies per se. Well, except Microsoft.
Microsoft
I know their
did.
website was jacked up too. But you know, it's like the retailers in general. It's like, but then again, like we said, it also doesn't matter because they know that stuff's going to sell out no matter what. Someone got it a little early. Like if the website was down for 2 hours, still sold out. So it's just kind of like this weird, like, I don't know. This again, though, I've said it and I'll say it again. This is why I don't go for pre-orders. Even if I really, really, really wanted one, I wouldn't have. I still would have just been like, I'll take next round. Like, it's just such a nightmare. Watching both of these was a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean this and the whole like the 380 RTX as well. Like that was a whole other. And but like at the end of the day, like these retailers don't care because, and it's weird that they were just like, we have to be first. Like Walmart, like we have to be. We're like, you're gonna sell out, dude. Like you're not. Like why is there even a doubt that that's gonna be like a question of whether you're gonna sell out or not?
I don't know if they were like trying to do it to be like newsworthy, but then it backfired because everyone else like lost their minds and were like, oh, go, you know? But like, I don't know. I feel like Walmart was just kind of trolling in a way, but like also trying to like be like, oh, like everyone would talk about, oh, like Walmart did it early. And like, I just think it was like
PR stunt.
Yeah. But then it like backfired in a weird way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's weird.
And it didn't stop there as far as the news from Xbox. There's a couple other things that happened this week with them. With the whole pre-order debacle as well, kind of out of the way. They also announced their external terabytes through their proprietary external terabytes through Seagate. Seagate is the producer, or the what's it called that are making them.
Yeah.
1 terabyte of their the proprietary SSD that will only run Xbox Series X games on is going to be $220. Are you surprised by that number?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I called it in the past where I was like, the console's going to be cheap, but they're going to make a lot of money back with the hard drive. I didn't expect over $200 though, because again, we can buy a terabyte for about $80. I've seen upwards of like 120. I was expecting like 150, maybe 170. I was expecting under 200 for sure. Like I knew that was going to be a place to make money back. But again, with how cheap the consoles are, and again, them not focusing so much on the hardware, I thought for sure that would be another place where they would kind of lowball it, make some money back. But like at that point, 3, 4, 5, you might as well buy the better console. Like, so I don't know if it's maybe one of those where it's like, when you do the math, you realize the newer console is a better deal, and maybe that the $300 console is just going to be here for like a year or two as like the kind of like, I don't know, like the segue into like, I don't know how to phrase what I'm thinking of.
Like the step up, basically.
Yeah.
Like the half step before you take the full, before you buy like the Series X
or
something.
just that step for that person who's like, well, I really can't afford it. I can deal with the 500 because it's I'm going to be able to put a few games on my console. I may just have to delete as I go, because people do that today that don't want to do the externals on these. I know people are constantly deleting games, reinstalling, deleting, reinstalling. I mean, there's ways around it, but
Justin.
yeah, that's exactly who I was thinking of. There's ways around it, but I am surprised by the price. I definitely was like, no way it'll be over $200. So
Um, I was surprised by the price as well. Now we know that these are SSDs. We always knew that SSDs are a lot more expensive than the normal HDDs, which are basically what these are. These are
yeah,
HDDs, and then the SSD is just like super fast. Um, but it does surprise me that if you buy a Series S and an external, and you have 1 terabyte and 1.5 terabytes, then it's going to cost more than if you would have bought like a Series X. It does surprise me. Something else that, but once you, because like, so here, I was under the impression that like, even like if we took these right now and we plug them into the next Series X or whatever it may be, they wouldn't work because they're not, they don't
compatible.
communicate. They're not compatible. I've heard that that's not the case, that you can, but only your Xbox One games will be able to run on there through this. You can't put Series X games on here basically, or any game that requires only Series X like hardware, like they will not run on them. And that's what I'm understanding from it. So that kind of makes it a little bit better, the fact that you can just like pack these puppies up with whatever games you currently have right now. And especially at launch, when there's not going to be that many launch games anyways,
Yeah.
and it's almost good that you can just grab that, plug it in, call it a day. I think these will only be sold to the hardcore gamers who really want to make sure that they maximize their storage space, that are already dropping a bunch of money on for the Series X and just want the extra terabyte just to have it and have it. But I don't think people are going to necessarily need them from the get-go.
Oh no, especially at the beginning. This is going to be a purchase a year or two down the line for I think most people.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have the option. It's an expensive option.
No, for sure. I mean, those SSD, if you would just go to get an external SSD for 1 terabyte right now, they go up to almost $200 anyways. So I think the only thing is just this is a proprietary one. It's a lot smaller than if you were to get like even like a normal SSD, and it just plugs right in, so you don't have to worry about cables or anything.
Yeah.
It's a convenience factor, right?
No, for sure.
Something that I wanted to mention too, when like a couple episodes ago, when the Xbox Series S was announced and the X and all that stuff was, we were surprised by the 500 gigabyte SSD that they have. I had an idea where like, so they have Game Pass Ultimate, and xCloud. xCloud is normally used for your phone, so you can just play your games from their cloud service, the Azure cloud service that they have. Why haven't they done that as well, that you can play xCloud on your box? Do you think that might be something that they might kind of introduce later on? So like, for an example, right? If you're at home and you're playing, you're playing on your Series S, and you see a new game get added to Game Pass, right? Let's just say like it's like Grand Theft Auto 5 or something again. Okay? That's a huge game. So instead of like, oh, now it's out, I'm going to download it, takes literally like a full day to download. Why haven't they introduced like, oh, like if you want to download it, but if not, play it on xCloud, and you can play it on xCloud through your thing. You'll have a little bit input lag, and you'll have the disadvantages of xCloud, but at least you're able to play it right away. Kind of to rival like Stadia and what we're going to talk about next, the Luna for Amazon. Like that wouldn't that be like a great bonus in general? Like you already have this system in place. Why is it only for phones and your like tablets for now? Why haven't they kind of introduced that there?
Baby steps, Irving. Baby steps.
Is that another announcement? Anytime and next time Sony announces something, they're gonna be like, "But we have this."
Yeah, I mean that seems to be what they're doing. It's probably it sounds like, I would imagine that with Stadia and Luna being announced too, that's definitely a market they're going to challenge them in. Like, I imagine that they're already working on that. It's just not in a place to launch or to talk about.
Got it. Yeah, because that makes the most perfect sense. Like, part of the reason Game Pass is so great is you have a library of games that you can play. But the downside of it is that you have to then download them onto your system, and then, like you said, you have to delete them to make room for other ones and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So it would only make sense that they would introduce a system like that. I would love that. I think that would be great. And when we talk about the next discussion or next topic we're going to talk about, I think that Xbox is already way ahead of the market that Stadia and Amazon are trying to go into. not only because they've been a game company for such a long time, but they've already thought like gamers think, right? So,
Well, I was just gonna say they also have they're again, from what I understand, is their whole xCloud is coming off of the back of their Azure system. So they're already the main people for cloud, programming. So yeah, I mean, they have huge steps and advantages in that department as well, because like I said before, Azure is basically carrying that company right now. Like that product has been so good for their revenue. So they clearly know what they're doing in this cloud-based sort of, ecosystem. Yeah. I'm like, that's why I'm like, I'm sure it's something that they're working on. I'm sure it's something that's in the works. Just may not be fully baked yet.
Got it. Well, you heard it here first. If it does happen, I predicted it. It was your boy.
Yeah, boy. Prediction legend.
Yeah, prediction legend. But that's what we have for Xbox One Bethesda. I want to know what you guys think about this acquisition. Well, what are your reactions? What are your thoughts? Do you think that these games are going to be exclusive to Xbox games, or Xbox in general? Or do you kind of do you think that we're onto something when it comes to like, it'd be better to just have their eggs in multiple baskets as opposed to one, and they still get kind of a kickback from the publisher deal? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And did you get your hands on a Series X or S?
Or PlayStation.
Or PlayStation. Yeah, we didn't ask that last time.
Were you guys able to secure anything?
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. Amazon has stepped into the ring, Allie. The cloud gaming ring. Amazon this week announced Amazon Luna using Amazon's AWS Compute Cloud, which is basically what their version of Azure.
Yeah.
And they're in a way better than Stadia, but not as good as Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's really odd.
Yeah.
So let's break down what we know, okay? We don't know the launch of this yet, but we do know at launch it'll be $5.99 for the Luna Plus channel, okay? The way that this is going to work is similar to like how Netflix is, kind of, or Hulu, where you have like channels, I guess, like almost like live TV, where you have channels, and each of those channels have a library of game for you to be able to play. Off the bat from their Luna, they have games like Control, some other like third-party games, crap that I didn't put on here, but basically about 50 games that they have licenses to distribute on here. And these games are unlike Stadia. They're, once you have the $5.99, you're free to play those games. Okay, so Control's a huge get, by the way. A great game of the year last year. But beyond that, a bunch of other like third-party games here and there. They're also have a partnership with Ubisoft that's coming in the future that we don't know the amount of like how much money it'll be to add the Ubisoft channel. I'm assuming it is, you're going to have to pay another $5.99 for the Ubisoft channel. But if you do, then you have an access to 50 of their games, which are existing Ubisoft games, and Ubisoft games that are coming at launch, like Watch Dogs Legions or, Assassin's Creed.
I hate it already.
So let me finish up, and then I really want to hear your thoughts. No price for that yet. Like I said, you can buy a Luna controller, which is basically a Nintendo Switch controller. It looks exactly like it, the Pro controller. It connects directly to your 5G Wi-Fi for you to be able to play this, as opposed to like the devices like Stadia. Like with Stadia, you have like a Fire Stick or whatever it may be, and it connects to that, and then that connects to the Wi-Fi. This connects directly to the Wi-Fi, so then it kind of cuts out that latency a little bit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming to PC, Fire Stick, Mac, and iOS. Now there's a little asterisk next to that because they have a workaround for the whole issue of
it's not gonna last, basically,
the Apple Store, basically. And it's but it's weird because that's kind of what Apple has said to them before. They're like, you can't do this, but you have to use it through Safari. So you're basically using their internet Safari browser, and you have to build in this app into that browser, basically. So that's what they're doing. We have no idea how long this will last. If they're gonna shut this down too, because it's pretty much what a Game Pass or Stadia is, and we know that those two are not on iOS. But with that information, Allie, what say you?
So for channels, you have to pay for each channel individually. Is that what I'm understanding?
That's what they're.
Or is it $5.99 for the whole program? Like
$5.99 is just for Luna Plus channel, and that comes with 50 games that are third party.
I get you need to like pay your developers individually, but I just kind of that's one of my big complaints about Hulu. Like I'm not you got Netflix or you got Hulu. And like while they're similar in ideas, how they implement things is completely different and I don't like it. Like for Netflix, you know what? You acquire more, you charge me a little bit more per month, that's fine. But like I at least have access to everything. I'm kind of one of those people where I'm like I don't want you to give me these different options and add-ons. And that's why a lot of people stopped paying TV and cable and like because it just became such a like well, you can add this on and you can add this on and like, you know, supersize your Big Mac. And it's just like I don't know, like for the like I hate that about Hulu. Like I would rather you just give me one price, give me no commercials, and give me all of the stuff and have it be a higher price than well here's your minimum and then if you want you can add this on and oh for no commercials here's another add-on and it's like I do see benefits in it in the sense that like we've been able to pay for the upgrade for like the 3 months that Game of Thrones is on and then cancel it. So there are benefits I see.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you're giving me a bunch of options and I'm like, that's a lot of stuff I'm paying for and I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to use it, I'm not going to pay for it. It's as simple as that. I go for the cheapest thing. I'm like, okay, I have to pay to not have commercials. Forget it. Like I don't use Hulu. So it's the same kind of thing here where if you have games in so many places and you have so many other things, these add-ons are like, why are they necessary? Unless I'm like someone who exclusively plays Ubisoft games and like, that's a great deal. Cool. But I just don't like this. And it's proven in business that consumers don't like that many choices. As much as you think you want the choice on everything, most people don't. Most people get overwhelmed. They start to question, do I need this? Will I use it? And then a lot of people will regret it. Like I know at one point we had HBO and we realized we forgot to cancel it for 3 months and I was like, we didn't use it once. We were paying $7 a month for a part of that and I regretted that and that annoyed me. It bothered me. And it's kind of the same thing here where you're going to get sucked into this system and what people the only thing that's great for companies about subscriptions is people tend to forget or people like oh, I started a free trial. I'll cancel before the free trial. Like a lot of people forget. And even if they only go 2 months and then they cancel it, it's like still you just got money out of them for nothing.
Yeah.
And it just feels like that's what kind of cash grab this is. Your average consumer does not really enjoy these choices. I think a lot of people would prefer an all or nothing. Like, again, I'm not saying there aren't benefits to this, but I personally am just like, that's going to make me, that's a turn off for me. I like Xbox. Xbox is the Netflix. This is the Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
yeah. We talked about this like off camera as well, as far as like the direction of how these three companies are.
Oh wait, yeah, because like they're also to like preface everything. I don't care about cloud gaming, so I'm not the customer for this anyways.
Yeah.
But as a customer of someone who understands game, like the Game Pass, I don't like this.
And I think that's what I was trying to get at, is that these three companies are all trying to do the same thing, but only one of them really understands gaming in general and has been in the gaming industry for such a long time. You have Amazon, who threw a bunch of money to make a studio that made Crucible.
Oh,
one of the worst games. Like the game I played once and uninstalled immediately. I've never done that with a game.
You finished one match and we're done.
Yeah, that was awful. And that it just goes to show that like the lack of like understanding of it, where it's just like, you know, you throw a bunch of money and you make a studio, as opposed to like where Xbox freaking straight up bought Bethesda. They could have spent 7.5 billion making a studio, but why do that when you already have somebody who makes it? And I kind of see
has
that
success.
and has success. I kind of see that with Amazon kind of like, partnering up with Ubisoft and doing that as a channel. But I kind of wish how they almost would have just kind of like done that, integrated into their system and made this like, $10.99
Exactly.
or $9.99 from the get-go. Because Stadia Pro is, I think, $9.99 as well, but they have way less games that are free basically for that, and you get like a few benefits from it. And like, I don't know, I don't understand how Stadia is even like a thing.
Don't make things more complicated for your customer, especially when there is competition out there too.
And the competition's doing a better job than you from the get go, and understand the industry more than you. So we've seen this before with like Google and even Microsoft, where they just kind of try things and then things don't work out. We saw it with Google Plus and like all these other services that they did, and they crash and burn, and they just forget about it. So who knows if Stadia is the next Google Plus, basically. But from the get-go, I think this is questionable. I do see benefits from it, but my biggest thing is that I don't think cloud gaming is to the point
too early.
Yeah, it's to the point where it's the substitute for gamers, like as your device.
Absolutely not.
Because that's what Stadia was trying to do. They were trying to be like, look,
you don't need to buy a console, right?
You can
buy
just
a service.
You can just use our consoles basically, and we'll run the games for you. You don't have to worry about upgrading. You don't have to worry about like downloading or anything like that, which is a benefit. And that's also why I brought up earlier why xCloud hasn't done that. That would be the best perfect competitor to that, because that's part of the argument as to why cloud gaming in these services are better, is that you don't have to upgrade your consoles, you don't have to buy a console, and you don't have to worry about, you get the 1080p, the 4K 60 frames guaranteed, blah, 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 for each game because you're doing it through them. But I'm telling you right now, it's not there yet, because latency, although very minimal,
it's
noticeable, and it's not playable. Like as like a hardcore gamer kind of a thing, where like I love playing Destiny, I love playing like, Call of Duty, Twitch shooters and stuff like that. There's no way in heck I'm going to play cloud gaming Destiny or cloud gaming, Call of Duty, like or competitively, or like, like Overwatch, where I'm like going to go into rank and I'm going to use the cloud gaming. There's no way in heck, because it's so noticeable that for me specifically, because why would I do that when I can just come downstairs and do that? Cloud gaming is a benefit, not even a benefit, like a bonus, right, to just gaming in general. And that's how I use xCloud. When we're upstairs, we're hanging out, I'll pop in, and I'll start playing. I've been playing Wasteland 3 or like Nier Automata, right? Like just play that. Like here, gonna kill some time, do that. But if I want to, game with the boys, or come and I've got to do a raid or something, I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna play down here. I'm not gonna play it on my tiny screen, by the way. Like playing on a tiny screen like this, like I want the Note 10 or Note 20, just because I want to be able to this is too small of a screen. But yeah.
It's like they're marketing at hardcore gamers, but it's actually a better product for a casual gamer who doesn't notice the latency, doesn't care about the latency, so it's really ironic, actually. I don't know. I'm not super into the idea of the cloud gaming, and I think it's like you're saying, it's not there yet. I do see it being the future. I do see potentially someday down the line us not even needing to buy consoles. But yeah, like you said, we're not there. We don't even have fast enough internet in most places to be running on this cloud system. So it's kind of weird that that's where the push is going. I think it's one thing to offer it as like xCloud does, as a, hey, here's a bonus, here's something we're working on, you can try it out, you can take advantage of it when you're not home, but to have that be your entire shtick is, like I said, because I'm not opposed to how things are evolving and changing anymore. I'm not opposed to like, okay, I see where you're going with this. But if you guys don't even have anything else to offer, then like that, because that's, again, it goes, not to be like a little bit of an Xbox fangirl, but like Xbox has been in the industry since what did Xbox release? 2000?
Somewhere around 2001.
There. And they've built up the reputation, and they have other things to offer. xCloud is a bonus. xCloud isn't their whole service. Like, that's not the one thing that they're offering. It's the cherry on top. It's like, cool, here's, you can play games upstairs if you want to, that having to come down here.
Yeah,
This
no,
doesn't make a lot of sense.
it doesn't, because like you nailed it right on the head when you said that, like even like here in the States, like half the country doesn't have
High
like
speed internet.
high speed internet. Like if you're, I don't know how many times I've heard like people like in like rural areas and stuff like that, like it takes literal days for them to download a game or something like that, you know?
And that's the reason that discs and stuff are still, I think we're not, all digital isn't going to happen yet too. Yeah, because of that. You're going to still have, that's why they're still making consoles with discs.
Yeah, and not only that, but also like cloud gaming on the go as well. Like 5G is barely starting to roll out. Like we don't even have 5G on our
5G is
phones.
going to give us cancer and implant into our brains, and the government's going to follow us.
Uh-huh.
No one wants that.
Yeah, but like 5G in general, like it's not a normal thing to that's just like, it's just accessible to everybody, especially right now. And I mean, I tried the Xbox, the XCloud, like while I was doing like like houses in between houses, I had a big enough gap. I tried booting up like Destiny on there, and like I got into the game, but like nothing loaded in, like no NPCs or anything like that, and it kept kicking me out. So, and I'm on normal like 4G LTE.
Well, because the other thing too is, so my thing, right, is always like the minority of people who maybe travel for work. Steve's a really good example. Not always home. Maybe wants to take something lighter for the 3 months he's gone. But at the same time, like if you're in a hotel, you don't even have high speed internet in hotels. That internet at we're in Vegas, and the internet when we go to these hotels, when we've stayed the night for whatever reason, are garbage. Like they're slow, they are clunky. When we went to Montana, oh, we were in this like little hotel near the airport, and even the TV didn't work. Or we were trying to watch the TV and it kept freezing, and like, and I asked my sisters and they were like, "Oh yeah, the only phone service that works here was like Verizon or T-Mobile or something." But they're like, "We you can't even, it doesn't work. Like phones don't work if you're on anything else." Cuz like we kept losing like connection and internet, and like the hotel internet was like, so it's just like, the point being is like, even if you travel, you need such a high-speed internet for this to still work, that it doesn't even apply to those people. Like it's different if you take your Switch because you're directly on the source. If you're trying to xCloud, like even the people I feel like it could work for right now, it still won't work for in most cities, even major cities is what I'm getting at.
One other thing that this service is going to implement is with Amazon obviously owning Twitch, is they've got Twitch implementations into their services. So while you're browsing through the Luna channel, you can look at games and you can watch other streamers that are playing that game, and you can then directly start playing the game from there, basically. So they're trying to kind of, and it makes sense as to why they picked Ubisoft too, because Ubisoft's Hyperscape is Twitch integrated as well, where like Twitch users
They've
will
got
pick
the relationship.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense with that. But something that Justin actually pointed out, which shame that he couldn't join us on this episode, but he pointed out that, so Twitch Prime gaming is a thing, right? Where like if you log into Twitch and you have like your Amazon Prime account with it, you get bonuses for a couple of things. Currently right now, like in Destiny, like every 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, you get an exotic ship, an exotic, gun, an exotic like ornament for that gun, and some other stuff, which is like a bonus, right? But he made a good point that like some of these games that are on their Twitch Prime gaming service, like the bonuses that you get from it, they're not even on Luna. How is that? Like most of these games are like
They want you to have both.
Most of these games are like PC games and stuff. Like yeah, they want you to have both. They're trying to start more money out of you or whatever it may be. But it just doesn't make sense that they're building a system for gaming, but then they already have a gaming channel like Twitch and their bonuses from there, and they're not like marrying them together where they might do it in the future,
But to start, the fact that they're keeping two things that would work together well and making them separate is a little weird.
It's so odd. It's really bizarre as to how this is. I don't know,
because you connected Amazon Prime to Twitch, so why wouldn't you connect this to that? Like,
yeah, the bonuses for it, and I'm sure these games like Destiny, especially Destiny, will be on here because Destiny's on everything. But like just as an example, that they weren't like, Destiny's coming to Luna as well with all these other things. Like, it surprises me that that's not like a thing. If we compare all three services right now too, Xbox is the clear winner as far as the amount of games that they have. Not only do they have first party games from Xbox, but they also have a good majority of the third party games that all of these companies will end up doing. And even with the PlayStation Collection, with games like Monster Hunter World and all the other games that I mentioned last episode, those are all on Xbox, and they have over 150 games on Game Pass. Stadia has 88, and most of these, if not all of them, are to purchase. So that's the other thing too, where you purchase these games through the service. With Pro, you get a few free games here and there, but like, yeah. And then Luna will have 50 third-party games at launch, and then 50 from Ubisoft later on that we don't know about.
But again, how many of those do you have to purchase individual channels? Like,
And that is the question, where it's
I don't like that model. But that's the kind of model you would expect from a company that is not a game company and does e-commerce. I mean,
that's true. Yeah,
they're used to individual sales, so you take it, you chop that shit up. I mean, although EA does that too, so I can't really say anything. And they are a game company.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The model is just, it's not my favorite. I see benefit. I do see some benefit in it. You pick and choose what you want. But
yeah. This also scares me though, because like, if we think about like what just happened with Microsoft and acquiring Bethesda, like we've heard rumors of them also acquiring Sega because of all like the meme, and all that. But like, they can do that, and it would only be beneficial for gamers in general if they did do that. But a company like Amazon, where Jeff Bezos is a freaking trillionaire, like, it kind of scares me that they'll just like start acquiring companies left and right as well, because they have the money.
Yeah.
And they introduced it into a system like this with Not saying that Ubisoft got bought out by them, but like, just an example. If they buy Sonic or Sega, if they buy, like EA, or they buy these other companies, then it's kind of scary that they won't play nice like Xbox could potentially, and they'll be like, you can only play these on Luna, and that's unfortunate, because like I said, cloud gaming is not where it needs to be right now, and that would not be good at all.
I also don't want to see again, I'm good with like how things are changing and evolving, but like, I also, in the past 10 years, we've gone from like, cool, here's Netflix and Hulu. Then Hulu's like, oh, I'm Hulu, but I also have add-ons. And then all these other big companies have seen like, oh, look at all the success they're having with these subscriptions. So then Disney splits off, and, CNBC splits off. And like, so we literally all went to Netflix to get away from this pay per channel thing. And then what are we doing now?
Yeah.
The exact same fucking thing. Like, you're paying individual companies for everything. And I get it. It's your company, your brand. But let's be honest. 4 years ago, when everything was just on Netflix and Hulu, it was so much nicer for us as consumers. We paid, we pretty much got a bargain. It was kind of like this, where it's like, we got so much entertainment for such a cheap monthly price. You only had two competitors, and like, I'm not about monopolies per se, but like, at the same time, like, as the consumer, it was nice for us because we weren't, again, like, if you're someone who really likes choice, then this is great. But I kind of I got spoiled with the, here's everything for $12 a month. Like, oh my gosh, and now here. So I would be worried more too on what you're saying, is things start turning into that. Like, if this is a success, they're paying per channel, then they're going to, like you said, start acquiring cloud rights for this, and it's going to be this amount per month. And I don't like where this could potentially go.
Yeah, no, like, thinking about it more and more, just like I said, because Amazon is such a huge company, they have so much money,
they can do anything.
They can literally throw money at these companies, and they could get exclusivities for them, and they can do all these, like, I mean, we're already seeing it right here with like Ubisoft. Like, nothing against Ubisoft, but like, this is just an example as like a small step as to like what they could potentially do. And it's just kind of it like, we've said it before with other things, but these are things that we have to keep an eye on. These are things that are important. Like, you see them now and you're like, oh, that's crazy, blah, blah, blah. But like, this might have huge implications in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
So only time will tell what will happen. But yeah,
I don't like it though.
Yeah, I don't like the service at all either. Like, it's like, aesthetically it looks cool, the purple,
I haven't even paid attention.
Yeah, but we'll just have to see. But I want to know what you guys think about Amazon Luna. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with us? Do you think that this is a good idea? Do you like cloud gaming? That's the other thing too. Like, do you mind the latency? Because I sure can't. But
I'm not about it. I'm not even interested right now.
yeah. But let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's all. That's all we have for this week. Big things happened. But not a lot of like diversity in news. A lot of it was taken up by Microsoft, and with Amazon kind of like tying back into that, the three juggernauts. But this was an interesting week. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, and we will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.
Crap, I took Markiplier's bye thing.
Oh no.
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 First, what was it? The game theory, now Markiplier? Oh man.